You ever have those days where everything just feels off? Like you're going through the motions, but something is just not clicking. Maybe you're more irritated than usual, or you just can't seem to focus, or you're questioning everything that you're doing. Here's what most people do. They try to just push through it, right? Distract themselves with more content, more music, more anything really to avoid sitting with that feeling. Yo, what's going on, man? It's your boy Kmo. Look, today I want to talk to you about my 4-step process that helps me navigate these moments without spiraling. So let's get into it. Step one, and this is probably the most important step, is to quiet the noise. Like for me, I realize that sometimes I need to introduce more quiet into my life, less stimulation, you know what I mean? And I know this sounds counterintuitive, when you're already feeling bad, right? Like, Mo, I'm already struggling. Why would I want to sit alone in my thoughts? But hear me out, okay? This means you have to stay off social media. You have to turn off the radio in the whip. You got to go for a slow walk or just sit in a quiet place. No podcasts, no music, no notifications, right? Just you and your thoughts. Let me tell you why. If you're anything like me, you're constantly on the go, right? You're consuming content, you're listening to music, you're planning your next move, you're checking your messages, you're checking your emails, you have stuff to do with your children, you have stuff to do at work. There's always something demanding your attention. You need to find a way to do less and observe your thoughts more. Now, I ain't gonna lie to you. When you first get quiet, man, your mind, it may drift. You may experience unpleasant thoughts. You may feel anxious and uncomfortable. Look, let me tell you that's normal, and I go through that as well. That's actually the point. It's more important to focus on how you feel and exactly what you're thinking in those moments. Not necessarily solve the problem right away or to snap right out of the way that you're feeling, but you need to gain information. Think about it like this. Life has seasons, some high, some low, some in the middle, some in between somewhere. And sometimes, they're very easy to identify. Like, you know exactly why you feel stressed or happy, right? Other times, it's not so clear. You just feel off and you can't really put your finger on it. Those are the days, those tough days provide you with valuable insight of what is out of alignment. Like it's a warning light on your dashboard, right? It can point you in the right direction of some things that, maybe you can adjust. But if you are always distracted, you will definitely miss those signs. And that's something that I found out personally. So don't fight it. Don't resist it. Sit back, observe, get curious about it. Be like, I'm feeling really irritated today. Like, why is that? What's going on in my feelings? How do I feel? What am I avoiding? What do I need more of? And sometimes, what do I need less of? These answers won't always come immediately, but the act of creating the space for them to come through is very, very powerful. Step two is going to be look on the bright side, right? And before you roll your eyes, like Mo, this is some this is some toxic positivity stuff. Let me explain what I mean, right? Because it's not about pretending that everything is fine. First, you have to acknowledge how you feel to begin with. It's okay to feel bad. It's okay to feel frustrated and anxious. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel angry, right? You have to acknowledge the way you feel and what you're thinking. It's okay to have these thoughts. What is not okay is you don't want to judge yourself for having a tough day and for having these feelings and emotions. But here's where it gets really important. You have to try to see the bright side to every negative. I do this to stop me from spiraling, right? Because our brains, we're wired to focus on the negative. It's a survival mechanism for us. But if we're not careful, we can take one bad thing and turn it into everything is falling apart and the world is going to crap, right? You know exactly what I'm talking about. One thing goes wrong and suddenly, you're questioning your whole life path. So I make it a practice to find perspective. And as bad as things may seem, it could definitely be worse. And I'm not saying this to minimize what you're going through or what you're feeling or what your situation is. I'm saying this to give you perspective, right? Oftentimes, the current predicament isn't as bad as something you've already been through. Think about it. You survived 100% of all of the bad days that you've encountered to this point. Let me say that again. You have survived 100% of the bad days that you've been through to this point. Your track record is literally perfect for getting through a tough day. If you choose, you can get through this too. Maybe the bright side is that in the moment, it may be teaching you something. Maybe it's you still have people around you who care about you. Or maybe the bright side is you have the awareness of something that feels off, and that is growth in and of itself. A few years ago, you might not have even noticed that you were feeling the way that you are, right? Find it, hold on to it. It's definitely a lifeline when you're in the thick of things. Step 3 is going to be you got to find a small win, right? This one becomes crucial because momentum is everything, when you're trying to pull yourself out of a funk. You have to find something, and truly anything that you can count as a win. And here's the beautiful part. You set the criteria for this. Like nobody else can tell you what counts as a win for you, especially on a tough day. For me, I like to pick things that give me a sense of accomplishment. It could be writing a couple verses. It could be brainstorming some content ideas for the channel for you guys. It could be getting in a good workout. It usually is something that makes me feel like, the day wasn't a complete waste. And usually it's something I love to do, but never really seem to have enough time to do it. You know what I'm talking about when it comes to these things, right? The things that light you up, but you never really have the chance to get around to them because there is always something more important on the list that you have to do. A tough day is actually the perfect time to dive into those things because it gives you a hit of fulfillment, right? That reminder of who you are beyond your current struggle. It's much easier to pull yourself out of a tough spot if you feel like you salvaged something, right? It gives you momentum and it gives you confidence. Even if everything that day was a mess, you can look back at it and say, at least I did something I love. At least I created something. At least I moved my body, right? At least I spent time doing something that I cared about. And here's what gets really interesting. Sometimes that small win, it opens up the door for more. So I could write one verse and then suddenly I'm in the flow and I might be able to get a whole song done. Or maybe I do a set of push-ups and then suddenly it's like, okay, well, I got that done. Let's bang out another rep, right? Let's bang out another set. Or maybe I journal one page and then I kind of get into the mood and then I flesh out the rest of my feelings, right? But even if it doesn't, even if it stays just a small thing, truly, that's enough. On a tough day, a small win it's a very big deal. Step 4, and this is going to be the one that ties everything together, is trust. This is when you lean on that higher power, however you define it. For me, I strongly believe that everything happens for a reason. I may not be able to explain the reason and I may not be able to understand it in the moment, but I hold my hat that there must be a reason to everything. Trust there is a solution. Trust this is temporary and trust in your ability to get through it. You know what really helps me? When I think about all the other people who have gone through similar struggles and made it out on the other side. If they can do it, there is literally no reason why I can't do it too. But here's the thing. Persistence eventually yields favorable results, but many people give up right before that breakthrough. Think about it. How many times have you heard stories of someone who was, about to quit and then everything clicked and everything just came together? It happens all the time. I'm sure you can probably even point to some situations in your life when this happened. And if you don't share this belief, let me ask you something. Why not? What benefit is it to you to believe the opposite? What do you gain from believing that there is no reason, no solution, and that you can't make it through? There literally is none, right? There's no benefit to that mindset at all. So you might as well trust, right? Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that everything is going to be perfect. It sure won't. It definitely will mean that things won't be perfect. You won't be perfect. And you will stumble and you will definitely have setbacks, right? But trust that you will eventually make it through all of that. And when you do, you'll be better for it. I promise you. Every tough day is shaping you, building your resistance, teaching you something about yourself. You're becoming the person who can handle more, who understands more, who can help others more because you've been through it. So trust the process, trust yourself, trust that this moment, as uncomfortable as it may be, is part of, your journey to becoming the best version of yourself. So here's my challenge to you. The next time that you have a tough day, a rough day, and trust me, you will, we all will, I want you to try these 4 steps. Don't try to push through it with more stimulation. Don't try to distract yourself until it goes away. Get quiet. Create some space to observe what you're feeling and what you're thinking. Look for the bright side while acknowledging the real difficulty that you're facing. Find one small win, just one thing that you can do that day to give you a sense of accomplishment. And lastly, trust. Trust that this is temporary and that there's a reason for it and that you have whatever it takes to get through it. These tough days, look, man, they're not trying to break you, right? They're trying to show you something, they're trying to teach you something, and they're trying to strengthen you for what's coming next. Drop a comment, let me know, what do you do on a tough day? What do you do that helps you get through it? I'm always looking to learn new perspectives and new ways that could potentially help me out, and I can add it to my repertoire as well. And I'm sure other people, in the community will be able to benefit from hearing your strategies too. So let's share, right? Let's round table a little bit. If this resonated with you, please hit the like button. If this type of content you're into, consider subscribing. I won't take up too much more of your time. I thank you for your time and attention. And y'all know the vibes. Peace and love. Y'all.